I wanted to share with the audience this morning. I wanted to say that it's not only about, it's even about how do we appraise our collective knowledge and wisdom over the years, so that our continent, Africa, should not be left behind. I was told that over than 100 billion people have lived throughout the history, and we are roughly 7.5 or 7.7 billion alive right now. And over this century, this billion of people have tried many things. They have failed, they have learned, and tried again differently. And sometimes they have found new solutions. And when you are born, you get the inherit the insight. They learn by trial and errors. So this morning I wanted to say that this lesson of over 100 billion people have been passed to you, and I'm talking to the young people, to the youth. And is the gift you will ever receive as you are here today with us. And we are not smart because of our individual capacity. It's because of our collective knowledge. So it's a kind of passing the witness to the young generation. I wanted also to say to the audience that it's now time for Africa to redeem time, because we need to move quickly because time is short. And of course, we discussed yesterday something very meaningful and interesting from our perspective, the Digital Health Africa program. We want to launch new product, and we want it to be launched now and not later. So the message I wanted to convey is that we need to be thoughtful and get moving. So this is the only way where we can find opportunity to fill the digital divide, the geospatial divide for Africa as regard to the other part of the world. And we want to move quickly. I wanted also to say that, of course, we need to start now and maybe optimize later on. We can have a kind of imperfect start, but we know that we can always improve. We can always start feeling or making sure that we handle those imperfections and continue to improving as we go along. So I was pleased, and I wanted to say also that we are pleased to see so many people today coming from various institutions, from the public sectors, from the private sectors, from academia, and from also various places in Africa and outside of the continent. And maybe some of you may not know that RCMRD was created in the 70s by the Economic Commission of Africa. And of course, after the baby was weaned, he has continued to grow and to stand, as we can see today, on his own 2 feet. And we can all be proud of that, from what where I'm coming from, I'm really proud of what the center is achieving. And this is an exemplary model many regional entities and institutions in Africa should take a lesson from. I wanted also to highlight three key issues we should keep in mind as we deliberate in the coming days. First of all, I was talking to our leaders and government that they should ensure that they put the needed resources for Africa to develop its space, science, and technology, because it should not be extra news-driven process with a simple transfer of results and tools, even adapted to the African context. But we should see it as a way for consistent concern to implement and integrate technology effectively and durably in our day-to-day operation and program. So I wanted to ask the Deputy President of Kenya to consider, and I was happy to hear that he discussed it with the center management on how Kenya can put resources to continue enhancing and strengthening the center. I wanted also for us to keep in mind that effective development of space, science, and technology require us to ensure that we have a consolidated institutional and policy frameworks that can include laws, regulations, and other governing mechanisms, so that we ensure that there are synergy and networking between all the stakeholders for actual and future development initiative on space technology. I also wanted them to keep in mind that space science and technology is not about only the technology, the data, or the human capacity. Is also a matter of lack of appropriate policy and institutional governance. So, and we all know that policy development is a very sensitive issue because it involves people and users and decision makers, their influence, their privilege, and therefore any process should start in the mind of these people. And most importantly, the mind of the influential one. So I was happy to see that the Deputy President of Kenya has made time to come with us for this conference, and this is a strong signal that the spatial awareness we are looking for is improving in the continent. But for us today, the question is, how do we continue to arouse this interest of policymakers in our work, in what we are doing, and what we are able to bring to foster the continent's socio-economic development. Of course, as we discussed it yesterday, it's well understood now that there are several challenges regarding Earth observation application in the continent. But we'd like to have the expectation that conference as this one will produce concrete recommendations and maybe a checklist of desirable action we can take forward for the future development of space application in Africa. So I would like to stop here and say that the Economic Commission for Africa would like to to reiterate his continued commitment to support geospatial space science and technology development in Africa, either at global continental level or at national level. And we will continue to work with our member state, all the stakeholders coming within the continent or outside the continent to ensure that geospatial science and technology, as we say in our vision, permeate every aspect of our society. Thank you, RCMRD, for giving me the opportunity to say some few words. And it's the history of the mother and the child. Whatever happened, we are together. Thank you.